Cortez, thank you. Jason, Sean, what's up? How's everybody doing today? Happy Monday to all y'all. Sorry, I'm trying to send it a blast. Thank you. Appreciate that. Gabby, I see you. How's everybody's day going? Matthew, what's up, brother? Guys, we're just getting ready here, just trying to get set up. I want to thank everybody for being here. We've got a great show planned. Miss Drea, I see you. Everybody, what's up? What's up? Got a great show planned. Just getting set up. As we're getting ready, guys, Stephanie, as we're getting ready, guys, just wanted to kind of thank everybody for coming. If anybody kind of wanted to share anything right now as we're getting ready, maybe right here at the Christmas time or the holidays, anything that they're probably in particular grateful for, love to see them be dropped in the comments right now. Like I said, we all have certainly a lot to be grateful for right now. So as we're getting ready, guys, if you want to just kind of touch on something that you guys are grateful for, just kind of want to get everybody included in on everything. And yeah, so good to see everybody again. It's a Monday. So glad to have everybody here. Glad to have Monday behind us. No, I didn't, man. Star Trek. Okay, that's what's up. But yeah, just one day closer to Christmas. Hope everybody has some great plans with their family and friends and all that good stuff. So hopefully we can all kind of eat really good like we did at Thanksgiving, and there's nothing wrong with that for sure. Jewel, Hot Tub, what's up? I just want to continue to welcome everybody in here. This is a show that we do every Monday night. We always have an amazing guest. We always have a great topic, and just thank you. Just wanted to, again, just welcome you guys so much. Like I said, if anybody wants to just kind of mention a quick comment to let anybody in here, does the contest start again when yeah, it's going on until tonight, man. There's another hour and 57 seconds left. So, yeah. But, yeah, we're about to get started. Like I said, if anybody wants to just drop a comment in here about things that they're grateful for, maybe something in their life that they might want to just share right now as we're getting ready to introduce our guests and our topics for this week. Grateful for meeting so many new people. Nice, Blake. I like that. Grateful I could spend Christmas with my mom. That's amazing. Thank you guys so much for just engaging with us and just letting us know what really is important and what you guys are grateful for. Someone special in my life I'm thankful for every day. That's really important. Absolutely. We all have a lot of things in our life that we are certainly very appreciative for every single day. I know I certainly am, and my family, great fun for the weather, right? Kind of obvious being alive. Absolutely. Especially during these times and things like that. It's definitely very tough and strenuous on a lot of people, especially financially and things of that nature. But we're all just trying to pull together and do the best that we can do for the situations that we have. Miss Shanti, I see you. Alexa. But yeah, guys, I really have two amazing guests lined up, and I'm going to have Emoji J just get in the box here in just a minute. I know he's up here. I definitely have a squad in here for sure. There's so many amazing, great people. Thank you so much, guys, for taking the time out of your busy night to be here. Kansas, I see you. Miss Grace, thank you very much. Emoji, man, if you want to go ahead and just pop up here real quick. I see you. We'll go ahead and get started and kind of get this thing rolling. Yo, Emoji, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate that intro, guys. He's going to drop his YouTube channel down at the bottom. It's youtube.com. Please favorite him. He's an amazing dude. He really certainly puts in a lot of work, energy, time, and effort into doing that for all the many shows that he does on the app. You can also go to his YouTube channel and check out all the shows that he records, including this one, as well as other past episodes and things of that nature. So, guys, happy Monday. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you taking the time out of your Monday evening to be here with us. This is a show that we do every Monday night. It's called Gratitude, 10 o'clock Eastern time. It's a show that's just about people, about finding people who wish to show more thanks during their life. Each week we have a guest or two guests that recall circumstances, people, memories that have humbled them, that have helped them maybe, reflect and grow as people. So it's certainly something that I think, especially right now in this time and where the world is in the current state, it certainly is good to kind of try to reflect on things that we're appreciative of and certainly give thanks for sure. So at this time, we just wanted to kind of mention we had an amazing show last week. Last week's topic was reclaiming self-worth. And so that was something that we really went into, and something we also try to do every single week is give you a quote. So guys, this week's quote is this, and I like for everybody to kind of think about this. In order to achieve anything, you must be brave enough to fail. So let me read that one more time. In order to achieve anything, you must be brave enough to fail. That's certainly really important. I know we have a lot of things in our life that doesn't always go the way that we plan for it to go. And we have to learn that you have to be really brave enough to know that you're going to fail, that things are going to happen, that things are going to kind of hit a little bit different and you're not necessarily planning for it. So, that's just how things are that's going to happen. So absolutely. But like I said, last week's topic was reclaiming your worth. And we had an amazing guest on. Her name was Triple L, and she shared such an amazing story about her life and some situations and circumstances that she's been in. And so this week we have two amazing guests. We got Sammy J, and we also have Gabby 3.0. Just to mention, and guys, we'll probably talk to both of them, and they can both kind of go in a little bit more detail about their show. They have an amazing show that they're starting to get things going on Tuesday night. It's every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. It's called In It Together. And Sammy's and Gabby, they both do an amazing job together. They are very well-spoken ladies that certainly know what they're doing. And at this time, we're going to have both of them on as guests this week because it's kind of a duo. They're both just really awesome people, certainly doing amazing things for their show. And I just certainly wanted to have them on my show to kind of talk about some things. So at this time, just wanted to welcome Sammy to the guest box. At this time, let me see you, Sammy.
Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, better now that I'm not so big.
There we go. Happy Monday to you.
Happy Monday to you too.
It's so good to see you. I hope your day was well.
It was. I hope yours was too.
Yeah. So thank you again so much for you and Gabby being on the show. Just certainly a pleasure to have you guys here. If you kind of want to just sort of introduce yourself, I know that you are LCPC, that's a licensed clinical professional counselor. Is that correct?
Got it. Good job. Good job.
Try to say that 5 times fast. So.
Right. Don't.
Yeah.
It won't work. It won't work.
Yeah. If you want to just kind of introduce yourself and kind of, share your story and kind of just maybe reflect on, maybe reclaiming some self-worth in your life and some things that you've experienced. And let's just kind of get this ball going.
Get it going. Yeah. I told Jamison, I said, I'm not used to being the person that's answering questions and like talking about themselves. I'm a counselor, so I'm used to like
reversed.
Yeah. This is like super weird for me, guys. So I'm going to try to do the best I can. I'm not used to telling my story. People come and they hang out in my life and we just have fun and we goof around. I'm not much on like sharing my story. Just because I always just try to keep it light.
Sure.
I've been through some stuff, but I'm a counselor. I've been a counselor. February will be 4 years. I work for a nonprofit. And yeah, it's a long days, but super rewarding. I love working with my clients. They're definitely in need of a lot of help and a lot of support. So I'm glad I get to be that person in their life.
Sure. I think it's certainly important to be able to help people in a time of need like that because, like I was saying earlier in the introduction, I mean, right now, especially with how, the current state is with the world and, the pandemic and things like that, that I'm sure that, if people were already struggling, if it was just a normal set of circumstances, that certainly could be, even more so much of an issue now. So, to have people like yourself to certainly, try to do what you can to help people through a tough time, I think is probably very much appreciated in so many different ways for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the rate of people that I'm seeing at this point is just insane. I have days where I'm used to like people missing some appointments and stuff sometimes, and now people are always keeping their appointments because they need the extra support right now. So it's really great to be that person for them.
Absolutely. When you hear the topic of reclaiming self-worth, what does that mean to you? Where's the first thing that your mind goes when you hear reclaiming your self-worth and what that means?
So I have to be honest with you. When I first heard reclaiming my self-worth, I was like, oh, what am I going to talk about? Like, I don't really know. And it wasn't until the quote, honestly, was what got me. Can I jump to the quote, or am I getting
Yeah, no, you absolutely can. Please.
So the quote from last week, I have it in front of me. It kind of hit me in two different parts. And I guess my life has been kind of in two different phases. So the first part of the quote says, one day it just clicks. You realize what's important and what isn't. You learn to care less about what other people think of you and more about what you think of yourselves. So that first chunk really brought me back to like childhood, high school years. Most people don't know it because people aren't very observant, but I am actually in a wheelchair. This is a wheelchair behind me, not like a gamer chair. So I have a condition called spinal muscular atrophy. And there's 3 different types. I have the second type. So growing up, I actually knew quite a few kids. There's a great community. So I knew quite a few kids that also had it. And at that time, science wasn't as great as it is now. So I lost a lot of friends growing up to this disorder. So kind of growing up, I kind of like always kind of subconsciously in the back of my head was like, I don't really have to think about adult years because kids with this disorder don't live to be adults. So when I hit high school, actually backtrack a little bit. Middle school, I had a spinal fusion, which is usually if you can make it to getting that spinal fusion, you have a better chance of survival. So I made it to that. It was a huge process, but I made it. And then I was like, okay, I'm in high school now. Like, what do I do there? I actually might have to think about like a job. I'm gonna get a job. That's gonna happen. So this was like a huge thing of my life. Like, hurry up, figure out what you want to do. Everybody else has been thinking about this for years and planning, and crap, like here it is.
Yes.
So that really made me think of that first part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
During high school, I was like very, very introverted, very shy, always observing people. Obviously, the counselor in me has been there since I was little. But I had a friend that I met who actually, we looked back at old pictures, and she was actually in my preschool class.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Taking
then
it back a little bit.
yeah, it was so crazy. Actually, her, myself, and my cousin, we were all in the same class together. So we found each other in high school. We're best friends. She was like the outgoing cheerleader type. She wasn't a cheerleader, but that kind of personality, just the cheerleader for everybody, wanted to include everybody, wanted everybody to have fun. And she really pulled me out of my shell and made me think like, okay, I can be part of things. People enjoy me. People like hanging out with me. So that was that first chunk about caring less about what other people think of you and more about what you think of yourself. That really hit me for that part of that quote.
Yeah.
And then the second part of the quote is, you realize how far you've come, and you remember when you thought that things were such a mess that they'd never recover. And then you smile. You smile because you're truly proud of yourself and the person you fought to become. So that last part brings me to probably like these last 5 years of my life. I don't know that anybody on here knows this, so this is probably going to be hard for me to talk about. I maybe told one or two people. So I was in a very serious relationship about 5 years ago, for about a year and a half. And he ended up passing away suddenly from a drug overdose. I didn't even know that he used drugs, so the whole thing was just smacked me in the face.
Right? You didn't even know, didn't even know anything was going on, right?
Yeah, he had actually like gone missing for a few hours and was not like him. We actually had to call and do a wellness check on him. And the cops came out and said something about drugs, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, he doesn't do drugs.
Right.
But he had a pain problem. He was on pain medicines for severe back problems that he had. And apparently it took a turn that nobody knew about. Even his closest friends were like, how did you not know? Like, we didn't know. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. It was a huge secret. So definitely for a while, it was hard for me to do much. I actually, though, had gotten my job, had offered me a job, for an interview like the day before he died. So I said, I'm going to give myself, a month, get yourself together. Like, you can't sit around and cry all the time. So actually my job kind of saved me in that moment.
Right.
So I kind of I picked myself up and I said, you can't just sit around and cry. You're going to go help other people. And that's what I did. And I've been doing that job for 4 years now. So his anniversary and my job start date are very close to each other. So I'm constantly reminded of, picking yourself back up and redoing everything, getting yourself together again.
I think that certainly is an incredible story. I mean, just, like you said, start to finish and being where you were even, as a young child and being where you are now and experiencing the loss of that, loved one in your life. I think it would certainly try to make you have a lot of self-worth for yourself because, you see, where you're at and where you came out of that. And I think that, when you surround yourself with the right people and you're in a certain situation like that, especially, I think that you learn a lot about yourself. You learn about what you bring to the table. You learn about what your worth is, not only to yourself, but others. And it certainly makes you, it can make you a better mom, a better sister, a better, coworker, employee, manager, whatever the case may be. And I think that sometimes that we all have to go through, unfortunately, situations like that to bring us where we're at. I feel like. So I think that we all can learn from your story and try to apply such a positive and wonderful attitude and outlook on what you've experienced to try to not only, better ourselves, but better, other people around us as well, especially right now, Christmas and the holidays and all that coming up that, a lot of us will probably not be able to see our family or spend time with our family like we want to.
Yeah.
And that, just that within itself could certainly make you define your own self-worth.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have two options with pain, right? Like, you can sit and you can wallow in it, or you can transform it into something else. And that's what I chose to do. But I definitely had people that helped me. I think you said something at the beginning of the show, and now I'm like lost for the words that you said, but you said something about, the people around you that help you and that kind of stuff. So definitely, like the beginning of my story, like I said, the friend was a huge piece of that. And then going through the grief that I went through, my sister is my best friend. She came over every day, forced me to go out to places, even if it was just to go sit at her house and watch a movie, forced me to take his sweatshirts off and put real clothes on and all that kind of stuff. So she was definitely my kick in the butt that I needed.
Do you feel like in looking back when you were going through that tough time that clearly it made you a different person for sure? Do you feel like that you were very fortunate and grateful just in the sense of being able to have the family and the friends around you? Because I know a lot of people, when they deal with things like that, especially with the loss of someone, sometimes people just, they'll say things like, I'm sorry for your loss, or I'll keep you in my thoughts, or your family in our, prayers, or whatever the case may be. Do you feel like that certainly made you be very grateful for that? Because like I said, not a lot of people have those, because a lot of people don't know what to say in those situations.
Yeah. I mean, it was really hard. I actually despised when people said those things because I was like, it's not making it better. Stop saying it. Like, it just doesn't make it better. But I eventually realized that like people don't know what to say. There's a really great book out there called It's Okay That You're Not Okay. And that book does a great job of normalizing grief and helping people to understand other people to understand how do you deal with somebody that's going with grief because it's so like taboo. Like you're only supposed to be sad for so long and then you're supposed to get over it. And like it does not work like that. We're 4 years out now and I'm still think about him every single day.
Right. I think that not to get into that too deep, but I think that if a lot of people have not ever really experienced grief in their own life, whether it be family members or friends,
Mhm.
it's hard to really understand that because none of us are really promised tomorrow, but
Yeah.
when you deal with that, that within itself can certainly help you reclaim a lot of your self-worth because it makes you think of life as being a lot more precious, being something that you're not necessarily guaranteed every single day.
Mhm.
And to try to kind of fit yourself around trying to be the best person and best version that you can to not only yourself but friends, family, and things like that.
Yeah, it gave me a huge perspective.
Mhm.
I had trained as a counselor for 2.5 years
Okay.
before this happened. And I will be honest that I still had this thought in my head of like people that do drugs and who they are. I try to not be judgmental, but you always have that kind of that stigma in your head. So going through this, like that has changed my perspective hugely on substance use issues and people that go through them. And just like having a new appreciation for life because there were definitely thoughts I had going through this time where I was like, coming out of it, I was like, wow, I'm so like, I see the difference in my thought patterns now. And I'm so glad I finally came out of that because that was not an okay place to be.
Moving forward, as you continue, like you said, it's been 4 years. Moving forward, what advice do you offer, or what kind of suggestions, whether you be a counselor or a friend or whatever the case may be, what do you offer to people that certainly are dealing with things like that, as far as maybe not necessarily having the most confident self-worth? What do you feel like is the advice that you certainly bring, being a professional counselor? What do you do to tell people to reclaim their own self-worth?
That's such a tough one because it's so different on each person.
Yeah.
But I would say for me, like the biggest thing again was just like pushing myself to do the things that I didn't necessarily feel comfortable doing. As a kid, I didn't necessarily feel comfortable approaching people and having conversations. I didn't really think anybody would care to hear what I had to say or would think the same about me.
Sure.
So again, having that friend that pushed me to say like, no, like people like you, let's do things, let's have fun. And then again, having my sister going through the grief saying like, no, I don't care. You're getting up and you're doing this. Pushing yourself is so important. You have to go outside your bubble, even just microscopically, just
Absolutely.
baby steps.
Absolutely. You got to start here to get where you want to be, and I completely agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Anything that you'd like to add in closing? Anything you'd like to add to the conversation to continue to help people, have a great attitude and a great outlook, especially right now this holiday season?
Yeah. So definitely, I mean, anybody that's struggling, reach out, whether it's to family, friends, or if you need a professional, like it's not a bad thing. Take that stigma away from that because so many more people do it than you think. And then definitely favorite me, come hang out with me. We always try to keep it light and happy. So if you need just a laugh, we're
Little pick me
goofy.
up.
Yeah, we're definitely goofy. And then favorite Gabby down there, Gabby Uke. We do our stream Tuesday nights at 9, and we are talking about social, psychological, and emotional well-being to promote self-healing. So we got lots of tips for you guys. We do different topics every week. This week is mindfulness. So lots of good stuff there to kind of continue that conversation.
Amazing stuff. But thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful holiday with your family or your friends, whatever you're into. I hope you just have a wonderful time. And thank you
as
so
well.
much for being here.
Thanks for having me. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Wow, guys. Such an amazing guest, such an amazing person, such an amazing story. So glad that she was here. Guys, if you're just tuning in, just wanted to let you know this is Gratitude. This is a show that we do every Monday night, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's just a show about finding people who wish to, show more thanks during their life. We try to recall circumstances and people and memories that have them humbled, and we're just trying to help people reflect and grow. And certainly, like to Sammy's point, some of the things that she experienced, how she's been able to grow from that, and it's just such a wonderful thing that she was able to share. And I'm glad to have her on the show. So, this week's topic, this is what we're going with: achievements, and accomplishments. That's what we're going with this week. Like I said, this is a two-part group of guests that we had this week. We had Sammy J first, and now we're going to have Gabby. So, Gabby, if you can please request that box, we'll have you up, love. And as we're waiting on her to do this, guys, please favorite Sammy when you get a chance. She's such an amazing person. She shared such a great story. Hey,
but we're all good
you're
now.
fine. You're fine. We got you in here. It probably was the ice dragon trying to sneak in or something like that. So you never know with that thing. Thank you so much for being here. I like I said, this was kind of a group thing that I wanted to do with you and Sammy both. And she kind of touched a little bit on in it together. If you kind of want to just sort of plug that and let people know kind of what you guys are bringing to the table as far as your show, and a little bit about yourself, and let's just roll with it.
Yeah, well, guys, thank you anyway for having me on the show. This is really awesome. I love this. But I'm Gabby. I've been a live streamer on here for about 2 years, but my account got deleted. So this is a new one I just made a month ago. But even though I got deleted, I still continued to make a new show on the app called In It Together with Sammy and Gabby. So Sammy pretty much said exactly what we do. We talk about coping with emotional, social, and psychological well-being to promote self-healing. And we have a new topic each week we dig into a little bit so that we can give you guys education and resources and tips to apply to your everyday life.
Yes.
And she said we're talking about mindfulness tomorrow, and it's gonna be a really, really cool show. So I hope you guys can favorite us and tune in tomorrow at 9 p.m.
I can't wait to be there. I know it's going to be such an amazing thing. You guys are doing such a wonderful thing over there, kind of carving your own niche out, and it's certainly awesome to be a part of that. It's certainly awesome to have you on my show. So thank you again so much for being here, you and Sammy both. When you hear about achievements, when you hear about accomplishments, what does that really mean to you? What do you feel like for you, especially maybe in your own personal life, maybe in your streaming life? What do you feel like is some things that have been such a tremendous influence on your life as far as achievements and accomplishments is concerned?
Well, all of my life, and we'll get into this a little bit, I'm sure, but I've kind of been told, like, you can't do it, you can't achieve, you're never going to be able to do that. And the fact that someone thinks that I'm not capable of doing something is my motivator. Right. So just like I have a show on the app, we're actually on the road to getting verified, which is really exciting. And I got deleted at 8 million diamonds, and I came back and still continued to make the show. So that that's a very small example. Obviously not like my life, but yeah. So I don't know. I guess you want me to kind of dig into some stuff, or
Sure. I mean, wherever you want to start. I mean, just whatever you feel is like something that you want to share, as far as, like you said, when people kind of look at you and say you can't do something, that certainly gives you the motivation to do more and do way more than what they're saying. So what if maybe has been something, in your own personal life that you feel like that you've accomplished, that maybe someone that said that you couldn't do that and you feel like, wow, I've killed it ever since they've said that to me?
Well, to get to the big, like, this is the proudest moment that I finally accomplished something, there's a little bit of a backstory. It's like a road of little accomplishments leading up to the big thing. And this is a show about gratitude, and it's a positive show. But to get to the positivity, there's a little bit of trauma in my life, and I'm going to go into it a little bit because it kind of plays in.
With. I mean, like you said, it's made you who you are today, and
absolutely,
we all have been through situations and circumstances, and we're all here together trying to be the best versions of ourselves, and we're all here to support and reflect and listen as much as we can. So
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm very vulnerable on this app anyway, and that's kind of how we started the show. But so I grew up in a very environment with a lot of drugs and a lot of abuse, physical and psychological abuse. My mom passed away when I was 9 from a drug overdose, and I ended up being, in the custody of my dad and my stepmom at the time. And my dad, to this day, unfortunately, is an addict. We don't speak. But his wife actually was extremely abusive to me psychologically and physically, and they kind of closed me off from the world. So it's not like I didn't have I'm like a millennial at the kind of where I didn't, cell phones weren't like, everybody didn't have a cell phone yet. You know what I mean? Like everybody had cell phones, but like not everybody had cell phones. Right. So I couldn't just like call somebody. But when I was 16, it got to a point where I told my dad, I was like, listen, she abused me in front of him, and I said, I'm going to leave, or you can get rid of your girlfriend. And he said, you can go. And I was 16. So there I was, house hopping, trying to maintain, being in high school. And I did get into a relationship when I was 16. And I ended up moving in with his family, and they lived out of the school district. And this is where the goal thing starts to come into play. The high school called me into their office and said, we know you're not living in this district, so we need you to pay tuition. But they also knew that I didn't have a place to live. So I found that was kind of messed up of that school system to be like that. So I was 18 when they found out. It was the beginning of my senior year. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to unenroll myself because I'm an adult now. And I'm going to enroll myself into a cyber school and get a second job. And they said, you're not going to even graduate. You're going to be a dropout. You're not going to go to college. You're not going to, they're like, you need to be in a public school. You're not going to accomplish anything. And I was like, all right, just watch. I'm going to prove you wrong. And I graduated high school, and that alone was a huge accomplishment, considering my circumstances.
Sure.
Considering my circumstances, definitely that alone was a big accomplishment. I mean, I know people accomplish these great things, but given my circumstances, that is an accomplishment in itself. And then from there, I maintained working 2 jobs. I went to Penn State actually, and I graduated with my associate's degree in physical therapy.
Wow.
And
that's amazing. Yeah. Just got to stop you right there and just just congratulate you on that, because like you said, I mean, where you've been and what you've experienced, just to be able to have, a degree in something like that certainly says a lot about you. And yeah, I just wanted to applaud you for that.
Well, thank you. People like to, the one thing I hear about myself, if people describe me, is the word resilient, which has become a word I really like. I actually probably will get it tattooed somewhere on me someday.
There you go.
Kind of like my battle scar.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, I graduated from college, which was the 2 years that it was 4 years that I was in college, because it was an associate's degree, but I worked 2 jobs, so I could only go part-time for a while. And another thing, a lot of people might not know this, or you might if you come to my stream a lot, but it's really hard for me to learn, kinda. I take a lot of extra work. I could, if I read something, I don't understand it unless I go over it over and over and over again. You know what I mean? So I'm the type of person that's recording all the lectures, and you know what I mean? Rewriting everything and going that extra mile, because not only was it extra work for me to learn, but that program was incredibly difficult. And I am still just blown away that I was even able to accomplish it. And there's no way, sure, I did a lot of work in my life, I really have, but I wouldn't have been able to do any of this stuff if it wasn't for the people in my life that I didn't even know that I had.
Yeah.
Really.
You talk about resilient. You talk about, to Sammy's point, when you surround yourself with people that are supportive and understanding and try to build you up and help you get in a direction. I know sometimes that we all can feel like we're kind of out on an island a little bit. But, there are just, sometimes maybe a handful or 2 of people that we surround ourselves with in everyday life that certainly helps us kind of navigate through the waters of tough stuff that we've experienced in our life. And that right there certainly is, an achievement and accomplishment within itself, because I think we all know that we're not necessarily all lucky to have that. So, you were very lucky, as well to kind of do that and to make yourself be a more resilient person and get your degree. I mean, that's amazing. Like I said.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, and this actually goes into another, I would call it an accomplishment. So as you can imagine, I endured quite a bit of trauma in my life. So I do. And again, I'm super vulnerable on my stream, and, it is who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it, but I have bipolar disorder and PTSD. And so being undiagnosed with those things made life very confusing for me, especially as I got older. And actually, after I graduated, I left that relationship with that boyfriend. It was a 6-year-long relationship, and he was a really, really amazing person, but he ended up getting into some things that I didn't think was going to benefit our future. And we just had different ideas for what our future held. So I had to make that decision to leave that relationship, which was very hard, very, very hard, but necessary, because, both of us have grown. Obviously, I don't really talk to him much, but I've heard that he's doing well, which is great. But, yeah, I think we held each other down. So it's really nice that we finally, people come into your life and then they leave and they have their reasons while they're there, and he's one person I'm great. If it wasn't for him, I don't even know where I'd be in my life, to be honest. I really don't, because that experience was so necessary, even though the ties were cut 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But, after I left that relationship, I hadn't taken my board exam yet, which, by the way, was very expensive. It was like $1,000 to take that exam. Wow. And then because I left that relationship, I was actually going through a spiral. I just had this really big spiral for a couple of years. I jumped cities. I went to another state, not crazy, the state over.
Well, I mean, hey, but
still.
to pick your life up like that, and just pick yourself up and just start back over, somewhere else. That's a tremendous accomplishment right there within itself. And also, I'm sure very scary to do that, because a lot of people, you start from fresh, you kind of feel like an alien, you just pick yourself up and you're in a new place and you don't know what direction or which way to go.
Yeah, and it was crazy. And again, it was at that time, I didn't realize who I had there for me yet. I'm sure Ash is in the comments. I don't know if Lexi's here tonight, but they're my real life cousins. They're my actual family. I don't have much family, but they're the two that are my family. Mm-hmm. And even though, I was isolated in that relationship and also isolated from that childhood, they always had my back all these years. And I'm so grateful for them too. I know Ash is somewhere in the comments here. But yeah, so Ash and Lexi were trying to help me through that time of that breakup, whatever. And, I'm also trying to study for this exam. And then I jumped cities. I literally I spiraled out, and I made some decisions that weren't smart at the time, but I don't regret them because I've learned a lot. But, I was dealing with a lot of mental health issues, and I didn't know how to go about it. A lot of people see seeking help as weakness.
Sometimes
and that's a stigma, that's a stigma.
Sometimes it's a pride thing too.
But it got to the point where I injured myself a couple years ago, and this is when I got licensed. I actually, at this time, I'm not even working in my career because I have a knee that dislocates every single time I straighten the knee out. It's very, 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 very terrible. But, so all of this stuff happening, the injury, the relationship, all this stuff, I had some really bad thoughts, and I got to the point where I was very afraid of myself. So I admitted myself to a psych facility, and that was an accomplishment in itself. And, and after that, I learned so much about who I am. I faced a lot of my past, because, I always think, put it in the back of your head, but really you have to take all those experiences and just, take them and acknowledge them and just be like, this is what happened. This is the way it is. And then you can let it go. And it took that experience, that moment, that experience to take that step. And it seriously has changed my entire life. And I know that that's maybe not the most relatable to a lot of people as an accomplishment, but to me, it really is an accomplishment. And it's really helps me even create the show that I have on the app. I was talking with someone. A lot of people, for some reason, like to come to me. I guess I'm approachable, like for problems and stuff. So I'll get a lot of people who vent to me.
Which is an amazing quality to have, by the way. So that's amazing to have that.
Yeah, I mean, it gets overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah.
But it is so cool to be able to have that kind of like approach to me, you know.
Absolutely. It means it means people certainly put a lot of confidence in you to share things about themselves, and they feel comfortable enough to come to you and feel like that you're not necessarily going to judge them, or maybe you don't necessarily understand what they're going through. But like the fact that sometimes people don't realize that you don't necessarily have to give an opinion about everything. Sometimes you can just be a shoulder to cry on or lean on, or an ear to just listen. And sometimes that certainly means more than any kind of advice that you can give anyone, I feel like.
Definitely. And I'm just such an empath, you know. I really am.
Yeah.
But when I was in that facility, we had a group session of like group therapy, and there was this one woman who, she must have had a lot of stuff going on, but she like like everyone's story hit her so hard that she was like sobbing by the end of the session. And so everyone's gone but me and this other patient and the therapist who was leading the group session. And, you know, I'm talking with her, I'm trying to calm her down, you know, and I succeeded in like at least making her feel better in that moment. And the therapist took me to she took me over into the room, and she's like, listen, you have a gift in this field of mental health. You should try to pursue that somehow. And I'm like, you know, I already went to school for 2 years. School is so expensive. Now there's COVID. And the show we have on the app is my way to help people. Mm-hmm. It's my way. And, you know, and sure, I'm not a counselor, but I have a lot of experience, and I have a lot of compassion and empathy for people. And I'm just, and honestly, that kind of leads me to the show. That's like my latest accomplishment. Just the fact that it exists is an accomplishment, because I juggled with this idea of the show for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have the confidence in it until I met Blake, which, by the way, Blake is someone I'm definitely grateful for. If you guys don't know him, I don't know what's wrong with you. Something's wrong.
Yeah,
everybody knows Blake. But Blake is seriously such an amazing friend and an amazing resource to anyone, which is crazy. So I'm sure he's also probably loaded with people coming with, you know, with questions and wanting advice from him as well. So yeah, and all of the community that I've met on the show creators, it's really crazy. Like, you guys are a family. Like, we're a family. This app, like, you build so many connections on here, and it took me until 2 years of being on this app to realize like how, like, where I'm at. You know what I mean? And the people I want to surround myself with, it's just incredible. This app is really cool.
Well, I mean, just like you said right there within itself, I mean, that's certainly a lot to be grateful for, because, you know, you can have the right people around you, and you feel like that you are not only bringing a lot of joy and gratefulness into their life, but they're certainly giving a lot back to you too. So it's a give and take relationship that, you know, is really important in everyday life. I mean, with the current circumstances and situations of how life is right now, we can't really get out and mingle and social like we want to. So we certainly have a platform like this. And in your case, and in my case, we have shows that can sort of hit and connect in different points that can bring so many different people together, and they'd be able to get so many different things out of each conversation. So I think that's certainly a thing that I'm very much appreciative of having, as far as feeling accomplished and things like that, is to have a platform like this to, you know, hear your story, hear Sammy's story, hear some of the other people's stories that I've had on the show, and for us to try to bring a real positive image and outlook to just pretty much just being grateful of the different topics that we have each and every single week.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it's crazy because, like I said, sometimes you don't realize what you have. Sometimes you really don't realize what it is, and it's like you need like a wake-up call, or we're talking about mindfulness tomorrow. So I mean, that kind of ties into a lot of what we're talking about today.
It all works.
It really does.
Right.
Yes. But you know what? It's just crazy. It's like people have so much more than they realize that they have. Seriously.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that people like to just let people see on the surface, but there's, you know, so many people are dealing with so many different things in so many different ways. And, you know, like I said, sometimes we can kind of feel like we're on an island, but like there's someone that may be dealing with a lot more of a tougher situation than maybe we are. And, you know, to be able to try to share those different, you know, commonalities and differences as well is what kind of all brings us together. And I think it's certainly important to try to do each and every single day. It's certainly something that I want to continue to work on in the new year, is to, be certainly a person that can listen and try to offer whatever I can to so many different people in so many different ways.
Right, definitely. Your show is incredible, by the way. The concept is so unique.
Well, I think it's important. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say it's just positively impacting so many people on this app.
Well, I think a lot of people get a lot of it, can apply to people in so many different ways, because, we're all having real conversations. We're all trying to talk about real topics that, maybe we don't necessarily get into a lot in our streams. Maybe we're just kind of doing our own little thing and whatever. But, this certainly is an opportunity to be able to share a lot of, personal things that I think that really can hit, like I said, a lot of different cylinders on a lot of different levels with people, for sure.
Definitely.
Do you have anything that you would like to add in closing? Anything that you'd like to share with anybody, especially right here at the holiday season, or anything you want to go with?
Well, I guess if you don't mind, I'm just gonna clout my show real quick.
Please do. Hey, I don't believe in clout. I believe that networking. I believe that you're networking. I think that you're trying to grow yourself. So, hey, network away.
Definitely. So me and Sammy, who's in the comments here, we have a show together on the app every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time called In It Together. And we talk about a bunch of different topics that we dig into so that you guys can have resources and education to apply to your daily life. We talk about coping with emotional, social, and psychological well-being to promote self-healing. And it's really a cool show. We've been having a lot of interactive stuff, and tomorrow we're talking about mindfulness, which I think really ties into today's show here on Gratitude.
Yes.
We have a spiritual practitioner, and he's also a massage therapist in the state of Florida, who's going to be a guest with us tomorrow, and he's new to the app, and he's going to start live streaming. So I'm really excited to bring someone new on the app.
Wow.
I've known him for 11 years. He's really, really cool.
Right.
So
and
hopefully,
to be able to know someone like that on a personal level, I think certainly translates to an even better show, because you know them and things like that, and you can certainly be able to share the chemistry and all that stuff. So
right, absolutely.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people get their guests off of the app, and I definitely do that also.
Mm-hmm.
But I have brought multiple people that I know in real life onto the app as my guests, and it's really cool. I think if there's any way any of you guys could ever take advantage of letting your friends know like what this app is really about, because I think sometimes people get the wrong impression. I mean, this app is really, really fun, and it's just really changed my life. It really has, especially during COVID, and I, like I said, I have an injury, so this app has been incredible, and it's really been keeping me going, man. Especially with you can set so many little goals just in like your streams or your favorites or your diamonds, and then the show, and then I don't know. I'm just kind of that. I'm a driven person, so I kind of get off on like goals and stuff.
That's a great attitude to have.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being on here. Thank you so much for sharing such an amazing thing with your life and what you've experienced and where you've been. I hope that you certainly have, and Sammy as well. I hope you guys have an amazing holiday with your family, your friends. I hope you continue to get better from your injury. I think that, even today, I think your mom would be very proud of you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
A lot of the different things that you've done in your life. And, I know that she would be, very, very proud of you today for sure.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for having us on too. We were really excited to be on here today.
Yeah. I was super excited to have you guys. So thank you so much for being here.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. You too. Guys, wow. What a show. I mean, seriously, Sammy killed it. Gabby killed it. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Absolutely amazing. We just had so many just wonderful conversations with so many real people. And like I said, if anybody is ever interested in being on the show, being a guest, you can certainly hit me up on the DMs. We'll talk. We'll have a real conversation to get to know each other a little bit better, to share what you're comfortable to talk about, to discuss the different topics. We do different topics every single week. And so that's what we were talking about this week, was just your achievements and your accomplishments. So just reflect with you guys. If you want to just kind of pop in the comments real quick, some things that you feel like have been an achievement or an accomplishment in your own life. We'd love to just kind of touch on those and read on those and just kind of see where everybody's at, and to just, just embrace that for sure. And as we're doing that, just to let you know, like I said, we do a topic every single week. Next week's topic is taking risk. So if anybody's interested in talking about that, we can talk about taking risk, and certainly try to really get into that with so many different people. Wow, we got Turn says graduating university after her coma. That's really, really awesome. I mean, wow. But yeah, just to kind of give you guys a quote again, made a decision to end a relationship with a mother of 4-month-old. Yeah, wow. It helped me a lot, especially in your job. Go ahead, Jewel. Love to type it out. And as she's typing her quote out, we'll just leave you with the quote we started out with the show. In order to achieve anything, guys, you must be brave enough to fail. Let me hit that one more time. We'll strive for progression, not perfection. Wow. Well said, Joel. Well said. In order to achieve anything, you must be brave enough to fail. That certainly hits different with me, guys. And I love it. Like I said, we had 2 amazing guests that shared 2 incredible stories, and I just could not be more excited and happier to have them on our show. This is going to be the last show that we do this week, and there's going to be so many wonderful things on the app that are going on. If you please, guys, check out the top of the banner. You'll see all the amazing shows, all the amazing content that everybody's trying to put in a lot of time, energy, and effort into creating the best content that they can. We'll be with you guys next week. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing, amazing holiday with your family, friends. Everyone, please stay safe. I love you guys. Take care.